It's been announced that Sony is going to acquire Destiny 2 developer Bungie for a whopping $3.6 billion, bringing the studio under the Sony Interactive Entertainment umbrella, but not PlayStation Studios. This is an important thing to catch, and we'll dive into it later in detail. Even though Sony is acquiring Bungie, it doesn't seem as though Destiny players on Xbox necessarily have to worry about the franchise becoming PlayStation exclusive. Sony has said that Bungie will still release games on multiple platforms, and will even have the option to self-publish its games. However, one has to imagine that future Bungie games like the inevitable Destiny 3 being PlayStation exclusive is certainly in the cards down the line. Regardless, Sony acquiring Bungie is a huge deal and a big blow to Microsoft, especially since Bungie is the studio that helped Xbox break into the console market in the first place. It's hard to say if there would even be Xbox gaming consoles today without Bungie's work creating the Halo franchise. Bungie was at one point even owned by Microsoft before gaining its independence and signing a lengthy deal with Activision Blizzard for Destiny. Bungie has been working solo on Destiny 2 ever since its relationship with Activision Blizzard was dissolved, though it will now have the backing of Sony and PlayStation behind it. What exactly this will mean for Destiny on PlayStation remains to be seen, but it should be noted that PlayStation consoles have been pushed as the premier location for the looter-shooter franchise since its inception. As some may recall, Destiny PlayStation exclusive deals have been going on since the original game, and so it's possible that there will be more PlayStation exclusive content on the way for Destiny 2. Bungie has other projects in development beyond what it's working on for Destiny 2, though they have yet to be unveiled to the public. When Sony acquired Insomniac Games and Microsoft acquired ZeniMax Media, these were clearly meant to drive console sales. While Insomniac Games had mostly been a PlayStation exclusive company except for the occasional title like Xbox One launch game Sunset Overdrive, ZeniMax Media had always been multi-platform. ZeniMax Media is the owner of many large developers including Bethesda and ID Software. Players were concerned about whether titles like The Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield would become exclusive to Xbox. Following the pre-established timed exclusive contract with Sony for Deathloop, that concern is becoming a reality as it seems The Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield will become console-exclusive Game Pass titles. Then Microsoft announced it was acquiring Activision Blizzard in the largest video game acquisition to date. If Microsoft treats Activision Blizzard like ZeniMax Media, that would mean Call of Duty, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, Overwatch and even Tony Hawk's Pro Skater could become exclusives. Call of Duty is one of the largest franchises in gaming today, so making that an exclusive would be a huge shakeup to the industry. PlayStation fans would lose access and need to purchase an Xbox or PC to continue playing. The deal is set to close in 2023. So if Xbox has plans to make titles exclusive, it probably won't happen until then. The one thing that is clear is after the deal closes, every Activision Blizzard title will no doubt be on Xbox Game Pass day one. Sony announced it was acquiring Bungie, the developer of Destiny and Destiny 2 that previously made Xbox famous with Halo, and immediately followed up saying Bungie would remain multi-platform. This is a huge departure from what Microsoft has done with its acquisitions, and even what Sony has done previously with its own companies. This move could be made for a multitude of reasons. Destiny 2 is already multi-platform, so it would not make sense to make it an exclusive now. Perhaps Sony wants to put pressure on Microsoft to keep Activision Blizzard games multi-platform, or Sony sees the potential in other markets after the release of various titles on PC. Whatever the reason for this move, it may just be the thing to change the playing field. It is very surprising and concerning that the company Xbox, that predicted to be go third party, is doing exclusives, buying publishers and taking away games from other platforms. At the same time, PlayStation, who are known for exclusives and exclusive content, talking about going multi-platform, and in Sony's investors' call for their Q3 report recently revealed that President of SIE Jim Ryan himself said that multi-platform words many times. He said these words specifically, that they want to go beyond PlayStation, and it's about going multi-platform games, especially by making partnership with Bungie. I actually don't like the wording here, as the priority for PlayStation gamers looks to be dimming away. Bungie's multi-platform promise after the Sony acquisition could turn the tables on Xbox, because of the different approach these companies seem to have with their latest purchases. This type of deal could be the result of Bungie's previous experiences with Microsoft first, and with Activision later, both of which the Bellevue studio paid a high price to walk out of. If the multi-platform promise holds true, it's safe to assume that Destiny 2 has the potential for big growth in the near future once the late Year 5 seasons go into development alongside the Lightfall expansion. Bungie is known for its work on Halo, which made Xbox the go-to platform for competitive shooters for many years. Older Halo game servers on Xbox 360 only shut down recently. Still, Bungie gave up its Halo rights when it parted ways with Microsoft in search of its own independence, though this was partly given up with a deal to publish Destiny and later Destiny 2 with Activision. Bungie was one of the largest and most long-standing independent video game studios around, and seeing its troubled history with the partnerships, it seems weird to some fans that the company would seal a deal with Sony. Still, Destiny 2 is one of the most played games every year across multiple platforms, and with crossplay debuting recently, it wouldn't have made sense to make it a PlayStation exclusive game. That's why Bungie's new Sony deal could make more room for growth in Destiny 2, seeing how the game has a clear path to complete its Light and Dark saga in 2024 with Lightfall and the Final Shape expansions. The premise for the Destiny Content Vault introduced in Beyond Light was that it was meant to let Destiny 2 grow with more expansions and sandbox updates while reducing loading times and keeping the game polished. That's when the plans for Destiny 3 were debunked by Bungie, which means the studio is willing to invest more into Destiny 2 to make it the best action MMO on any platform, as per Joe Blackburn on Twitter after the Sony deal announcement. This is not hard to believe, because Destiny 2 has been growing more over the past few years. Year 4 was one of the best yet thanks to a compelling overarching narrative and exciting gameplay additions. There are many implications to the Sony deal that will remain untold, but it's safe to assume that Bungie has learned from its experiences and secured a good deal for its future with Destiny 2. Prior to Year 4, many Destiny 2 fans believed that the highest point of the game was achieved with Year 2 content, starting with Forsaken, which Activision's funds contributed to. Forsaken was indeed a huge campaign that branched into the Tangled Shore and the Dreaming City as well, introducing a fantastic new raid, and some of the best seasons with Black Armory and Season of Opulence. Year 2 was also exceptional with regard to raid releases, including The Last Wish with Forsaken, then Black Armory's Scourge of the Past, and finally Season of Opulence's Crown of Sorrow. Some players believe Sony's acquisition of Bungie will lead to Destiny 2 going back to those days, possibly coming with more than one new raid per year, and even topping previous records with the state of the game. While this is not an impossible outcome, at least when Lightfall releases, players shouldn't get their hopes too high for the time being. The deal is freshly sealed, and the Witch Queen has yet to be released. If Bungie does get more funds for the development of Destiny 2, or at least extra help from Sony developers, it's not unlikely that the acquisition will change things up in the near future, but for the best. For example, this could lead to no delays on the release of Lightfall and the Final Shape, as well as the freedom to hire more developers and include features and changes in every update that are more meaningful and frequent. In the grand scheme of things, the Bungie-Sony deal seems to be a good thing for Destiny 2's future, and it also makes the release of the Witch Queen but a stepping stone to what Lightfall and the Final Shape can be. According to Sony's recent earnings report for the third quarter of the 2021 fiscal year, which ends on March 31st, approximately a third of the $3.6 billion, so $1.2 billion, will be spent on a strategy to incentivize Bungie employees into staying with the studio. As Sony notes in the report, the majority of Bungie's shares are owned by employees, so Sony will be providing deferred payments to employee shareholders as well as other benefits. These will be paid over the course of several years, even after the acquisition closes, and will be recorded as expenses. What's more, Sony expects about 2/3 of these deferred payments and incentives to be expensed within the first 2 years following the acquisition's closure. The deal is expected to finalize in 2023, assuming it is approved by regulators. It's somewhat surprising to see Sony drop all this money on Bungie, considering it won't entirely be a first-party studio once the acquisition is complete. Unlike other studios purchased by Sony like Spider-Man developer Insomniac, Bungie will still function as an independent studio with the freedom to release its games on multiple platforms, not just PlayStation. Sony certainly sees nothing but benefits to the deal. Aside from acquiring Bungie's IPs like Destiny, Sony also seeks Bungie's expertise on live service games. This is an area Sony is clearly very keen to thrive in, with the company already confirming plans to have 10 live service PlayStation titles out by 2026. Those aren't the only plans Sony has for Bungie either. With it looking to bring its video game properties to television and film, as demonstrated with projects like the Uncharted movie and The Last of Us TV show, it hopes to adapt Bungie's IPs for the silver screen. The obvious choice is Destiny, but Bungie does have a few other franchises to call its own, like the fantasy tactics series Myth and 2001 shooter Oni. Although if any of them is going to get a movie first, it will undoubtedly be Destiny given its relevance and popularity. As the former PlayStation boss Sean Layden said, Sony acquire game studios for their talent, and the IPs that come with them are just a bonus. So, it is clear that Sony bought Bungie for the only sake of their talent, because they are one of the most successful studios and have Destiny, which is one of the most successful live service games, so Destiny is a bonus. But the caveat here is that Bungie will own that IP, not PlayStation. To elaborate on this, for example, Take-Two Interactive owns Rockstar Games, but Rockstar own the GTA IP. So, if Rockstar wants to depart from Take-Two, the GTA and other IPs they own will come them. Same this with this also, if Bungie wanna leave Sony in a few years, that will hit PlayStation huge. During an earnings call following Sony's acquisition of Bungie, Sony CFO Hiroki Totoki spoke on the potential of turning Bungie IPs into movies. During a Q&A portion of a Sony earnings call, Totoki spoke on the Bungie deal, and how Sony's position as a multimedia company could benefit the Destiny developer, specifically mentioning the potential of game titles being put into movies. Totoki went on to explain how Sony's multi-dimensional nature could benefit Bungie expanding popular franchises like Destiny, leveraging the access of Sony subsidiaries like Sony Pictures and Sony Music to create more content for its franchises outside video games. The possibility of Bungie using Sony's resources to bring franchises like Destiny to the movie screens would not be the first time the developer has explored the expansion of the franchise's universe. As recently as last September, Bungie was reportedly hiring staff for the purpose of bringing the Destiny series to TV and movies. A Destiny series would look to follow in the footsteps of recent successful video game adaptations like League of Legends Arcane and The Witcher on Netflix, with Arcane in particular becoming one of the most popular programs on the streaming service. The purchase of Bungie by Sony has not only introduced the possibility of Bungie seeing adaptations of some of its franchises, but also has Sony pursuing the benefits of a partnership. While no official announcement has been made regarding Destiny's transition to the big screen, the day when Destiny fans can see fan-favorite characters like Cayde 6 and Zavala may not be too far off. Underlining these possibilities are Sony productions that are slated to come out this year and are directly tied to video game franchises. The Uncharted movie that stars Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg is set to release in just a couple of weeks, bringing one of PlayStation's most successful franchises to the big screen. While this might be a testing the waters situation, the movie could be successful enough to become a blueprint for similar projects that relate to Destiny. The Destiny franchise itself has a lot of similar potential, and while space magic is a big part of the series, it's not its only defining trait. Fans should think back to the puzzles and quests that appeared in the game during the Shadowkeep expansion, which led to the exotic trace rifle Divinity and the exotic machine gun Xenophage. These pulled on the idea of space magic in Destiny 2 in the most general sense, but both played out more like treasure hunts than mystical quests to defeat hive wizards. Pulling on the design for these activities and some others could make for a more grounded movie that lightly plays with Guardian abilities and the threat of darkness, instead of a headfirst dive into the most intense parts of Destiny's universe. The Last of Us TV show could also help pull Destiny content for movies and shows in a more grounded direction. However, more than anything else, it also displays Sony's interest in producing long-form series and world-building. This route could be perfect for Destiny and, in all honesty, is one that would be better suited given everything that's going on in the game. Considering the series' deep lore and history, there's a lot that could be done with the different foundations provided by Destiny 2 that might not be feasible for an interactive player experience. Using a TV show or streaming series to accomplish this is an alternative with multi-season potential, and would be worth pursuing in the future. With the umbrella of opportunities provided by Sony, there would be a lot of choice for both the visuals and the overall execution of a series. While an event like Sony's acquisition of Bungie can be worrisome for fans, there are still some great opportunities that Bungie and its IPs can now explore thanks to Sony's history in other industries, which might turn out to be of the biggest positives to come out of this deal. The story of Destiny also continues to grow both through expansions and seasons. While these are pivotal to the current narrative in Destiny 2, they also provide other foundations that movies based on the Destiny franchise could explore. Films about key characters could be introduced as a means to fill in their backstories, and could even touch on the relationships present in Destiny. While Saint 14 and Osiris have spent some time together on screen, most of their appearances in Destiny are without each other, and the relationship between Mara Sov and Shuraido has seen even less focus. Filling in these gaps for characters that are so important to the story in Destiny would provide another way for Destiny to grow. Sony's acquisition of Bungie could already mean a lot of growth for Destiny 2, but it doesn't only have to have an impact on the game itself. The interest of both parties to expand on the franchise's media is encouraging, and developing movies and shows is a step that should help to push what the series' story can do. There isn't a necessity for movies based in the Destiny universe to follow the player's character, and with how the greater story can grow, there's a new opportunity to fill out other stories. Even past the more notable characters, there's an opportunity to delve into some of the inner workings of Destiny's universe through movies following Sony's acquisition of Bungie. The main characters presented in the games might be figureheads in their societies, but they aren't the only important aspects present. Events like the Cabal Empire's expansion could be used as a way to explore that species' time in the cosmos, and the survival of Elixni following the Whirlwind would be an interesting juxtaposition to humanity's fate after the collapse. Each of these events has been touched on in Destiny lore, but because of how important information in the game is conveyed outside of main storylines, it also means that many fans might not be too familiar with them. As a result, future Destiny movies and other projects are a veritable Pandora's box of possibilities when it comes to filling in the Destiny universe. This might be best compared to how Star Wars canon has expanded following the franchise's acquisition by Disney. There's a lot of great material to use, and focusing on the right things could generate shows and movies that fans love, like the Clone Wars and Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Sony also brings a lot to the table when it comes to adapting the Destiny franchise for the big screen. Given the company's other projects, like the Uncharted movie that releases later this month, it's no surprise that part of Sony's interest in Bungie comes from wanting to turn its main franchise into a larger series. This type of endeavor can not only be profitable, but rewarding. Many fans enjoy seeing their favorite series getting the opportunity to grow, and Sony's experience building up other franchises like Spider-Man, The Last of Us, and Uncharted shows that it can create a series of Destiny movies that fans would enjoy. Its dedicated PlayStation Originals production studio also means that video games that Sony wants to expand on have a dedicated studio to rely on as they start to grow beyond the confines of PlayStation consoles and PC. While fans have had strong reactions to movies based on video games in the past, such as the live-action Sonic movie, the PlayStation Originals studio could prove to be a reliable mediator between the two mediums. Being able to bridge the fine line between what fans will pay to see and what executives would like to accomplish with a movie can be incredibly difficult, something that will need to be considered for future multimedia projects based on Bungie IPs. Previously it has been achieved, but not finding this balance has also resulted in productions that are used as cautionary tales, such as the now infamous Super Mario Bros. Movie from 1993. While Sony's acquisition of Bungie does come with some concerns to contrast these positives, it's clear that it can retain a lot of its value. There's a lot that Sony can do to help Bungie develop the Destiny franchise beyond video games, and the partnership could be lucrative both financially and because of its overall entertainment value. Apparently, Sony's acquisition of Bungie is great for possible multimedia franchises, both because of the multi-layered worlds Bungie has created and because of Sony's history of creating IPs across a variety of media. However, it seems that Bungie was already looking into developing its own multimedia IPs. The positive side to this is that Bungie will be assisting in sharing ideas with other studios at PlayStation in making live service elements when PlayStation want to bring back Sock'em, Killzone, Resistance, Twisted Metal, and make new IPs with Deviation Games, Haven Studios and Firewalk. Reportedly, Google pitched its streaming tech to Bungie as part of an attempt to stabilize its failing Stadia streaming service. It seems that Bungie was exploring the possibility of creating its own streaming service when Google reached out to it. According to the white label deal, Google technology would support the platform, while Bungie would own content and control the front end of the service. Talks between the two companies appear to have made considerable progress before Sony announced its plans to acquire Bungie for $3.6 billion. Apparently, Google is rebranding their Stadia model to Google Stream because of how it terribly failed. It remains unclear how Sony's decision to buy Bungie will impact Google's plans to collaborate on a new streaming service. However, it is confirmed that Sony spent over $1 billion to keep Bungie employees on board after the acquisition. Bungie has also confirmed that it will continue to support Stadia, especially since Destiny 2 is one of the main attractions of the service. Sony has its own existing deal with Microsoft for cloud gaming infrastructure though. It remains to be seen how Sony and Bungie will work out their differing obligations in this area. Bungie and Sony's partnership seems to be based on existing game IPs as much as it is rooted in building out live service game infrastructure. Reportedly, Sony is planning to launch 10 live service games in the next 4 years, and Bungie, with its experience as a developer of live service titles, will be serving as a key partner in the initiative. Since Bungie got in on the live service gaming trend back in 2014 with the original Destiny, this may make a degree of sense. Sony CFO Hiroki Totoki allegedly wishes to capitalize on Bungie's experience and incorporate it into Sony's own IPs. Destiny 2 is making plenty of headlines nowadays, with the latest piece of news from Bungie relating to the sheer number of pre-orders that Destiny fans have placed on the game's next major piece of DLC, Witch Queen. According to Bungie's official announcement on Twitter, over 1 million pre-orders are now in place. With the Witch Queen DLC for Destiny 2 featuring plenty of new features to toy around with, fearsome foes to vanquish, and loot to farm or craft, as it were, the excitement surrounding this particular release seems to be particularly energetic in the various Destiny Online communities. The number of pre-orders that have been made so far takes this idea a step further still. Though most of the really special pre-order goodies are exclusive to the collector's edition of Witch Queen, even the digital version comes with a few desirable exclusive cosmetics. It's also worth remembering that placing a pre-order on Destiny 2 The Witch Queen Deluxe Edition will include a full year's worth of content at a considerable discount. Namely, purchasing the Witch Queen DLC and its 4 subsequent seasons piecemeal, as well as the extra paid dungeons that are new to Destiny 2, would end up costing a player more than getting the deluxe edition of this DLC. Of course, this is also great news for Bungie's new owner, Sony Interactive Entertainment. The so-called Project Spartacus from Sony may well feature Destiny 2 as its flagship offering. Especially now that Microsoft is looking to own Activision Blizzard and bring its full lineup of Call of Duty games to Game Pass. Whether it's because Witch Queen features exciting new exotic weapons, or because it's simply that good of a deal for fans of the series, the Witch Queen expansion pack for Destiny 2 already seems to be a major success for Bungie. With just a few more weeks to go before the DLC comes out, Bungie should start revealing more information about the nitty-gritty of the game's new gameplay mechanics, such as weapon crafting. Sony recently acquired Bungie for $3.6 billion, and it isn't stopping with that merger, as there are plans to continue acquiring more studios following the purchase. Holding off from sharing any specifics, Jim Ryan has confirmed that PlayStation fans can expect more big news akin to the Bungie acquisition in the future. According to head of GamesIndustry.biz Christopher Dring, the president and CEO of PlayStation has hinted that there will be more acquisitions in time as deals are solidified. Dring specifically stated that Jim Ryan told him we should expect more acquisitions from Sony, but he didn't give a specific timeline or what studios that may include. Sony made waves back in September 2021 when it acquired Bluepoint Games, and it has stirred up more interest with Bungie, which may suggest that future Sony acquisitions will be big development studios. Sony has already confirmed that Bungie titles will remain multi-platform, and it's likely that existing contracts will be honored similar to Xbox with Activision Blizzard. Bungie titles may continue to arrive on PlayStation, but some of Xbox's recent acquisitions will result in exclusivity like with future Bethesda games. While PlayStation fans may not see titles from Bethesda such as Starfield and The Elder Scrolls 6 which are confirmed as Xbox exclusives, Sony has ensured that Bungie games will have a home on the PlayStation platform, but I hope all this was a PR talk, and Bungie makes some new IP exclusive for PS5. Deals like Sony Interactive Entertainment's purchase of Bungie are months in the making, so the recent acquisition isn't exactly Sony hitting back at Microsoft with its recent purchases. Still, these purchases from Sony may be a response to Xbox's recent Bethesda, standing out when compared to the cost of Bungie. Bungie's addition to PlayStation's network of development studios has resulted in many fans celebrating the future possibilities once everything is finalized. Sony has made several other acquisitions in recent years including Firesprite, Housemarque, and Nixxes, the latter of which specializes in porting games. Bluepoint Games also worked with PlayStation titles such as Shadow of the Colossus, Uncharted: The Nathan Drake Collection, and Demon's Souls. PlayStation has plenty of support studios that could increase the speed of games output from their first party. After Sony's shocking acquisition of Bungie, PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan stated in a recent interview that the company is looking to branch out from single-player, story-focused games. Ryan believes that Bungie may be able to help Sony expand its market into live-service games after Bungie's success with the Destiny and Halo series. Ryan explained that the two companies can hopefully slot together and be mutually beneficial to one another. Ryan explained that Sony was interested in pursuing live-service gaming even before it considered buying Bungie. Ryan noted that while Sony could have created live-service games itself, Bungie had a wealth of experience in the genre and would be able to give Sony a head start. It does seem as though Bungie will not be the only company that Sony will acquire, as Sony allegedly has more plans in the works. The companies Sony may be interested in purchasing may be involved in live-service games, as it seems to be making a big push in the category. It also seems as though Sony is not planning on closing off its games and making them exclusive. Ryan mentioned that Sony is planning to grow the size of the PlayStation community, which might mean releasing games to different platforms. Sony has already breached the PC market by releasing many of its exclusives to the platform a few years after release, such as the God of War PC port that released last month. This gaming industry is changing drastically in front of our eyes, and it looks the arms race for acquisitions are just beginning. Sony's purchase of Destiny and Halo developer Bungie this week is the latest in a recent trend of massively lucrative video game company acquisitions. 2 weeks prior, Microsoft acquired Activision Blizzard for $68.7 billion, which followed Take-Two Interactive's acquisition of Zynga for $12.7 billion. These deals will effectively alter the face of the industry, with new publishers taking on titles that had come from a different platform, let alone cross-platform deals or potential platform exclusivity that was previously unavailable. However, the Game Awards and Summer Game Fest's Jeff Keighley has shared that Sony's acquisition of Bungie may only be the first of many acquisitions to occur this year. Keighley cites multiple people when stating that there are a few other big video game deals in final stages of negotiations. Because Keighley is such a veteran name in the industry, his claim lends credence to it and can be supported as credible information. Of course, this information has stirred speculation about what other acquisitions might be made this year. There are a number of different studios and developers whose names fans have since thrown into the mix, such as Konami, Capcom, and Square Enix. No precise details have been mentioned about which companies will be involved in future purchases, but recent reports claim that Sony has more acquisition deals that are currently in the works. Future Sony acquisitions were reportedly confirmed by PlayStation's Jim Ryan, which means that 2 or more of the acquisitions made this year could add even more talent to Sony's conglomerate. Still, it is uncertain what other talent Sony plans to buy. Interestingly, Keighley seems to have some hesitations when it comes to these monumental developer and publisher acquisitions from Microsoft, Sony, and the like. While all of these acquisitions are significant for the companies involved, Keithley appears concerned about how it will ultimately affect games. He says that he is on the fence about the industry's general consolidation and asks others for their thoughts on the matter. Twitter user Clue encourages the idea so long as it does not damage any existing titles or franchises when the dust settles. Consolidation also gives fans the impression that competition will be stagnant, with Twitter user Another LED stating that it will be down to a few big corporations who will eventually control everything in the gaming industry. While it may not be an assured inevitability, it demonstrates that fans are increasingly worried about what effect consolidation may have on games as well. But at the same time, it is equally exciting for fans whose favorite franchises and intellectual properties may now be in more preferable hands. For example, Microsoft's Activision Blizzard acquisition may result in future installments for Activision franchises that have been left dormant under their previous ownership. Nonetheless, Keithley and fans hope that the outcome is positive for the players and companies who are affected. Over the last few years, Saudi Arabia has shown it has an increasing desire to diversify its investment portfolio within the video game industry. Its latest investment in both Capcom and Nexon is said to be valued at over $1 billion. According to Bloomberg, the 5% purchase of Capcom is valued at approximately $332 million at current stock prices, while the 5.02% in Nexon is valued at roughly $883 million. Capcom is known for its Monster Hunter and Resident Evil franchises, while Corrin-based Nexon is best known for Dungeon Fighter and its online RPG MapleStory. These stock purchases are being described as pure investment opportunities as opposed to any preliminary takeover moves. Shares in Osaka-based Capcom rose as much as 1.7% after the announcement, while Nexon shares rose more than 3% in Tokyo trading. Saudi Arabia is using its public investment fund, known as PIF, a $500 billion sovereign wealth fund used to diversify the nation's economy beyond just oil and gas, to purchase the shares. The PIF is one of the largest sovereign wealth funds in the world with the goal to create new sectors, companies, and jobs within the nation, and is chaired by the controversial Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Over the last few years, the PIF has invested in Electronic Arts Incorporated, Take-Two Interactive Software Incorporated, and through PIF subsidiary Savvy bought two of the largest esports leagues in the world, ESL and Faceit, for a combined price of $1.5 billion. These two have since merged into a single organization called ESL Faceit Group. The Public Investment Fund has set aside approximately $10 billion to buy additional global stocks. It already has stakes in Uber, Live Nation Entertainment, and an 80% share of soccer club Newcastle United FC in England. Interestingly, last year Nexon invested $874 million into a handful of entertainment companies, funding Konami, Sega Sammy, Bandai Namco, and Hasbro. It diversified its portfolio even further by purchasing $100 million worth of Bitcoin and recently invested $400 million in AGBO, Joe and Anthony Russo's independent film production company. Mohammed bin Salman is said to be a big fan of video games, with Call of Duty being his favorite, and that is probably why the PIF purchased 37.9 million shares of Activision Blizzard Incorporated in late 2020. This particular investment was losing money until Microsoft Corporation agreed to buy out the studio behind the Call of Duty series. In 2020, bin Salman's own electronic games development company purchased a controlling stake in the fighting game developer SNK, famous for games like The King of Fighters and Samurai Showdown, worth approximately $223 million. The investment in Capcom will not have an effect if Sony want to pick them up, we can guarantee that. Sony recently has reported its Q3 2021 financial statement, and we have the numbers here. Game and Network Services reported 813.2 billion yen revenue, which is $7.15 billion revenue and $817 million profit. This is second biggest quarterly revenue ever for PlayStation, and 3.9 million shipped, bringing PS5 lifetime sales to 17.3 million. 48 million PlayStation Plus subscribers, and the monthly active users are at 111 million. 200K PS4s shipped, bringing PS4 lifetime shipments to 116.8 million. 92.7 million games sold for PS4/PS5, 11.3 million of which were first-party, which is impressive. Another impressive number we got on that investors meeting is that Sony previously allocated 2 trillion yen, around $17.4 billion, for strategic investments, acquisitions and buyouts, and share repurchases. Following Sony's new third-quarter financial results, we now know that 850 billion yen, about $7.4 billion, has been spent. That leaves the company with about $10 billion in funds specifically allocated to use for acquisitions. And also the remaining $3.8 billion partnership or acquisition is yet to be revealed. Unfortunately, it remains a mystery exactly how Sony plans on spending that money. It's fun to speculate about what the future might hold, but the lack of leaks ahead of the Bungie purchase prove that these types of deals tend to remain quiet until an official announcement is made. As such, PlayStation fans are just going to have to wait patiently to see what Sony has planned for the future. Other companies have also revealed their reports, such as Nintendo Switch selling 103 million units, surpassing the PS1 and the Wii U. The acquisition wars are changing the industry, and I think if Sony needs to grab some devs or publishers, they need to get Ember Lab, Slocklap, From Software, Quantic Dreams, IO Interactive, CD Projekt Red and Take-Two. I hope that Japanese publishers are guarded by the Japanese government, and so it is difficult to acquire a Japanese studio. PlayStation can counter Xbox with Japanese RPGs by making partnerships. But acquiring devs from other parts of the world is important for the growth of PlayStation, and at the same time regaining their stronghold in Japan. The other information that got out in the same day as the acquisition news broke out was the Discord integration into PlayStation. Sony acquired a stake in Discord last year, and now official integration is rolling out for PlayStation owners throughout the US. Back in May 2021, PlayStation announced that it was forming a partnership with voice and text chat app Discord, and now it has finally revealed one interesting detail behind it. PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 owners in the United States will now be able to integrate their game activity with their Discord account and share it with their friends. This comes just after the landmark announcement that Sony has acquired Destiny 2 developer Bungie, a massive deal for PlayStation and the latest salvo in the current console wars, or maybe content wars. The PlayStation integration will work similarly to other existing service integrations on Discord, in that it allows players to showcase their activity. Discord users' friends will be able to see what they are playing on PS4 and PS5 after the integration is complete. Users can also choose to display their PlayStation Network online IDs on their profile, so that their Discord connections can easily add them as a PlayStation friend, and even see if they're playing a game they can jump into. There is no ability to share user content such as screenshots and videos just yet, but PlayStation gamers hope to see sharing functionality in the future. While Xbox owners can use Xbox Live as a Discord connection, the integration is minimal. Since Sony now has a minority investment in Discord, Xbox users wonder if they will ever see a complete integration with their consoles as well. Rumors still abound that a higher-priced PlayStation Plus service will launch in the future, and that perhaps some Discord perks could be included as part of it. Premium subscription Discord Nitro costs extra, but perhaps could be bundled as part of a higher-priced PS Plus tier. Discord's ubiquitous status connecting friend groups and larger communities has resulted in multiple deals allowing users to attach accounts. There were 10 prior to PlayStation Network: Blizzard Entertainment's Battle.net, Facebook, GitHub, Reddit, Spotify, Steam, Twitch, Twitter, Xbox, and YouTube. PlayStation's integration works the same way. Users go to the connection setting and authorize their PlayStation Network account, at which point they can choose to display information on their profile or specifically as the status that appears underneath one's Discord name. Once that integration is complete, anytime users boot up a game on their PlayStation 4 or 5, it will be displayed for friends and members of various servers. Using Discord with an Xbox or Steam account works much the same way, though people can also choose to display their PlayStation Network online ID, meaning others can add them as friends or join multiplayer games from a chat room. In Discord's official announcement blog post it says, "We're excited to continue our partnership with PlayStation and explore how we can collectively create great shared experiences, so it will be interesting to see if more features follow down the line." Another point of note in Discord's blog post is that integrating one's PlayStation Network account will let friends know if the user is on a game that supports crossplay. PlayStation has expressed interest in adding more crossplay games, and this makes sense. Much of the brand's acclaim has come from its breadth of single-player AAA experiences from studios like Naughty Dog, Guerrilla Games, and Santa Monica Studio. PlayStation's Discord integration and the Bungie acquisition happening on the same day may not be as much a coincidence as it seems. While Microsoft shores up its exclusive draws, putting stock into a game like Destiny 2 shows Sony committing to crossplay aspirations supported by community platforms like Discord. Destiny 2 only released crossplay with Season of the Lost in August 2021, but that makes it a huge get. Halo Infinite may be a bestseller for Xbox, but its performance on sites like Twitch and Steam suggests it's not as huge a community-driven experience, but Destiny 2 certainly is. While Sony's strength lies in single-player action games, more diversity is always welcome. Some PlayStation fans have expressed a desire for more multiplayer games like Sock'em, so this is indeed great news for that subset of the audience. While the term live service doesn't always equate to playing with friends, multiplayer and the games as a service model go hand in hand these days. It will probably not have any impact on the single-player portfolio, and Sony most likely sees this as a massive growth opportunity. Naughty Dog, arguably one of Sony's most prolific studio, has multiple projects in development, with a multiplayer game set in the Last of Us universe being one of its key titles. Fans have been asking for a sequel to the Factions game mode from the original The Last of Us for years now, and Naughty Dog did confirm last year that it is aggressively hiring for this multiplayer project. Whenever it releases, fans can expect Naughty Dog's multiplayer game to be filled with live service elements with a big focus on user engagement. Well, this doesn't actually mean PlayStation is abandoning the blockbuster single-player games we love, but certainly focusing on other terms of income to increase the revenue and consistency in quality output. No matter what, single-player games should be, and will always be the pinnacle of gaming, by giving us lifelong unforgettable experiences, and PlayStation should raise the bar as they always do. I am certainly looking forward to what the future holds for PlayStation, and single-player games and gaming in general. Thank you for watching the video. Hit that like button if you like the content presented here, and also comment your thoughts on what you guys think about this acquisition, and what the future holds for PlayStation and gaming. Donations are always appreciated, and until then from SMPV it's goodbye.